What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Dermy Wormy. I'm coming at you with a review of what was this episode 5 of The Last of Us, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest here. There's parts I like, parts I dislike, but I was just bored. This is the problem I'm starting to have with this show. Is I'm bored. Some of the stuff I like happens for a decent chunk of time, but it's it's character development stuff like that. Last week was the first time we got development between Joel and Ellie, and this time I didn't get it. I got more of Joel just pushing everybody away, not really listening, and doing Joel stuff. It was moping about and everything like that. I just was not interested. I'm starting to have trouble reviewing the show, mainly because I'm just so freaking bored. Well, let's get into it. So, we open on the people rejoicing as they have just destroyed Fedra, because this is a flashback. Yay, they've killed Fedra. Now they're just as bad as Fedra. Then we watch Sam and we see our two heroes two of our main characters, Henry and Sam. These were the two characters at the end of last week's episode where they had Joel and Ellie at gunpoint. And the beginning of this is just seeing how they got to having Joel and Ellie at gunpoint. That's really it. We do have some other moments that firmly establish the boss lady as just bad. Oh, by the way, Henry is the older brother. Sam is the younger brother. He is deaf and has leukemia. No real reason for changing him. He just is changed. He's also much younger. He's like closer to Ellie's age in the games. In this, he's 8. Why? Don't know. So, they're planning on escaping. They have a place they're going to go to. We then cut on our boss lady interrogating a bunch of rats. These are people that ratted people out to Fedra to assist and stuff. To get supplies, things of that nature. Later on, we establish, and it's a decent way out, that the Kansas City Fedra were basically monsters. They were awful individuals. They hurt individuals, raped individuals, did all sorts of awful things. But the revolutionaries are no better. So, boss lady's interrogating them, saying, please give us any information on Henry, and if you do... If you give us the information we want, we will give you guys a trial. You'll be found guilty because you are. And then, you'll just serve some time. That's all you gotta do. If you don't give up people, we're gonna off you all. So, in the interrogation process, nobody decides to pipe up. She says just kill them all. One dude pipes up saying, hey, I know where they all are. They're going to this place. And then the doctor guy, he rats him out. So, she's all happy. She's like, yay, we can get all the information now. Thank you. Goes off, confronts the dude who plays Tommy in the games, Perry in this. Don't quite remember what they talked about. But ultimately she said, kill him. There's no trial. Just kill him. Burn the bodies. It's easier on cleanup. She is a sadistic monster that, for a brief moment, they try to humanize her at the same time. No, she's a monster. This is full up a disturbing monster of a human being. But we find out why she's a monster, and that doesn't change anything. She's still a monster. So, we cut over to Henry and Sam getting to a safe house where the doctor is waiting for them. They're planning to stay there for a while, hide out. They have some food for a couple days. They have running water, things of that nature. They're gonna hide out here until they have to move on. Doctor points out that Sam's scared because Henry's scared, so Henry goes over and works on making him less scared. Just calming him down, having some fun. Gives him a bag of crayons because this place is all ugly, and they're gonna brighten up. And I'll be honest. I will be 100% honest with people. As much as I find this episode to be boring, as much as I dislike a lot of it, and towards the end, there's some, one of my questions gets answered about last week on where all the infected went. Still don't understand it, but we get answers. Basically, I do like Sam and Henry. There's something about it that warms my heart. I like these brothers united thing. One taking care of the other one because they have no choice. And I do sympathize with Henry and Sam in this whole episode. Still doesn't make sense that Henry's deaf and Sam knows how to do sign language to tell. The sign language part doesn't quite work. Mainly because timelines and you have to learn this stuff. So it doesn't make sense to still know sign language in the apocalypse. It doesn't. Sorry. So a couple days go by. We see all the pictures on the walls and everything. And Henry looks outside to see the resistance guys moving around doing their thing. They're also basically out of food. They have one can left. So Henry's watching them, trying to figure it out. Sam's hungry. And they have one food left. Henry's saying, we'll eat it later. Later in the night, Henry wakes up Sam because he's been watching stuff. Next morning, Henry and Sam plan on leaving because, one, they're out of food. Two, the doctor guy, this is after the doctor was captured. Everything like this, because this is past to present, 10 days later. All this happened in 10 days. God. Henry assumes the doctor's dead. Sam kind of figured that out. So they're going to move downtown. They're going to use the tunnels, and they're going to get out of there. And then we see Henry wipe paint on Sam's face to make him the superhero. Super Sam, the character that is giving him strength to be less scared. That's their plan. They're also going to go through the tunnels to get out of the city. That's another part of their plan. So, they get downstairs. They start hearing gunfire, crashes, all sorts of stuff. There's a fight outside. Henry looks up and sees Joel and Ellie's truck. So they saw the whole fight between Joel and Ellie. Well, with Joel, Ellie, and the resistance people. So their idea is now they have a new plan. They're going to go track down Joel and Ellie. Why? I don't know. But that's their plan. So we cut over to later. They're going to start walking up. They get into the building, walk up the stairs, and they get Joel and Ellie at gunpoint. Now we pick up where we left off last week. Again, I like Sam and Henry as characters for the most part. They're not the smartest characters. They could have been better writ. It doesn't really make any sense for Sam to be deaf this young and be dying of leukemia. But they do add in some of this stuff throughout the show, but you still didn't need to add parts of it. Mainly the deaf thing. It just deaf thing just doesn't add up. So, you got everybody at gunpoint. Everybody's waking up. Joel's being Joel and responding kind of like how Joel does. Okay. Yeah. Henry's mad because he thinks Joel's giving him lip, and Ellie has to say he's not. He just sounds like a jackass. So they get up. Everything's good. Gunpoint's down. And they eat together because they're hungry. They need food. And they want to give a proposition. So they eat. Ellie and Sam become quick friends quite fast. Ellie's getting Joel to open up. And Henry lets on that, hey, your plan is to get out of the city. That's why you're in this big tower. Come daylight, you're going to look out. You're going to look out across the city to try to plan your way out. In reality, I know a way, and we're going to do this together. I have a plan. So next morning, they're looking out upon the city, upon Kansas City and stuff. I don't really think this is Kansas City off the top of my head. They might have superimposed it, but I don't think this is. Because they shot a lot of this up in Canada. So, Henry and Sam... Well, this is Henry and Joel, not Henry and Sam. They begin chit-chatting, talking about everything, and Henry tells Joel that he's a rat. And Joel gets all uppity, saying, I don't want to work with rats. You worked with Fedra. This is bad. And Henry then looks over at Sam and Ellie having fun, playing around and stuff. And Henry's like, I did this for him. I did what I did for him. And I have a plan to get out. It's very simple. And you're going to need me because I know the city. So they write out the plan. And these all represent the highways around the city. I've been to Kansas City a couple times. I don't remember it being this. I could be wrong. I don't remember it being like this. Anyways, marks it all out. He says, hey, this is the plan. All these positions are marked up with guards. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to go to the bank, which is, I'm trying to get the shot. Basically, I'll do it. It was right around here, maybe. They're going to go underground using tunnel systems that have been set up throughout the whole city. They're going to get out of the tunnel. They're going to be an urban development center or housing development center. They're going to get over a bridge, and then they'll be home free. Simple as that. Super easy. But we need you guys to be our safeguards in case anything bad happens. That's the simplest thing. So they keep talking. They see Sam and stuff, and it's like, there's probably infected down there, so we're going to need your help to get under here. Okay? We're going to need your help to get under here. You guys have fought up the resistance. You guys have survived so long. You're from Boston. You've obviously have seen combat and stuff like that. And Ellie lets it out that they battled clickers, and he's like, oh my god, you guys fought clickers? You're super good at all this. You're going to be perfect. And then Sam asks, using his little board, and if I can get the shot, Sam asks, what's going on? Are they going to help? And Henry just says, yep, they're going to help. Obviously, they're going to help. So they get roped into helping without actually agreeing to help. I do like some of this. I like Henry and Sam's connection. Because Henry will do anything for Sam, and Sam relies on Henry, and they're family. I like that. So, they're walking out, planning on going. They're going down to the basement, getting out there. They're wanting to be careful in case anything bad's down there. Going down, walking slowly, carefully, and they come across a door. If I can get the shot just right. They come across a room covered in all sorts of stuff. It's very pretty. It's very cool. Sam tries to open the door first. Joel stops him. Joel ends up slowly opening the door himself, and we see that it's a little compound-like area with a bunch of toys for kids, comic books, an area to relax at. And Joel says, hey, I've heard about these. These are, after the infection, a lot of people went down underground to defend themselves and protect themselves. And this is where this is some of their stuff. And Ellie's like, well, what happened to them? Where did everybody go? And Joel's like, well, They probably got 8. Probably broke the rules, got infected, and that's how they're down here now. Establishing that, it further establishes the possibility of what happens later doesn't fully make sense still where all the infected are. Because still, if this place was ratted out by all the infected and all the citizenry, I guess, became infected, where are they? Don't know until later. Sam finds a comic book that he and Ellie both like and love, and they start bonding over that. And pretty soon, Joel's like, hey, we need to go. We gotta go. We need to leave. Henry's like, Ellie kind of talks back saying, we need a rest. There's stuff to actually do down here. Let's spend time. It seems safe. And Henry's like, you know what? It's a better idea to stay down here because it's safer going out at night. Simple enough. Joel agrees, and we see some bonding between Sam and Ellie as they play games, and then Henry and Joel start chit-chatting a bit. Let me try to remember some of this. I'm trying to think. I'm going forward a little bit because the story progresses a certain way. Yeah, I think it's here. So Henry's all like, I haven't heard him laugh and have this much fun in a long time. Hey, I like that. Joel's starting to respond, you know what? If Fedra, you ratted people out to get Fedra what you need for this kid, I think hunting you down is a bad idea. I think that's cruel and unusual. That's when Henry lets loose that back when he was at the QZ, he was a part of the resistance. There was a man he looked up to very much. What happened, though, was Henry came down with leukemia. There was not a whole lot of medicine, and the medicine that they did had was with Fedra. And Fedra made him do one of the most unspeakable things and turn somebody in to get the medicine that they needed. He had to turn in the man that he greatly admired, who was the leader of the resistance and Kathleen's older brother. That's the psycho lady. So, because of that, Kathleen's after him to punish him for turning in her brother. And then Henry looks at Joel and says, hey, I know Ellie isn't your daughter. I know, pretty obvious. And it's obvious that you're trying to protect her and make up for sins that you did in the past. Something that you failed with. So what happened there? Trying to pry into Joel, and Joel shuts him down and says, we're leaving. Simple enough. We then cut to a random moment with this is a moment. Kathleen and Perry, who's Tommy in the games. Kathleen's reminiscing about her brother and how she admired him. She used to be afraid of storms. He helped her, and now she's all mad because she's enraged at Henry because she has to kill Henry because Henry turned in her brother. Then Perry says, I've been talking to your mom. God, nothing really develops there. Ultimately, though, Perry comes back with, listen, we greatly admired your brother. Your brother was a good man. He was a strong man. He was a great leader. But he never got anything done. You did. Essentially saying you're the bestest ever. You achieved stuff that your brother couldn't do. And now we are free and in charge because of you, not your brother. Everything falls on Kathleen and her stupidity later in this episode. Also, the show writers still don't really explain fully how what happens. So, Joel, Ellie, and all of them get out on the streets after getting out of underground. They're walking along the streets. They're like, hey, see, pretty safe. Sam asks, why aren't they using flashlights? Henry responds, well, to be less predictable, to be nobody out here, but, we just don't have flashlights on, so in case something bad happens, they can't see us. Ellie then lets out that, hey, we're going over to Wyoming. Why don't you guys follow us? Joel snaps back. Why did you leave that out? And Ellie's then like saying, well, Joel will do whatever I say. All I have to do is keep asking him over and over and over again. And in the middle of all that, they start getting gunfire. Yep, there's a sniper, and they get pinned down. Henry and Sam try to escape. They can't. Joel looks up. We see the gunfire, and it's coming from a house just on the other side of the street. I'm trying to get the shot of the house. But it's a house all the way on the end. It's a nice house, too, even though it's run down. So Joel says, hey, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to take care of this. Ellie tells him no, and he's like, do you trust me? And Ellie lets him go. Here's the problem I have with this. We've had an episode with some Joel and Ellie development. We haven't had any other episode with Joel and Ellie development. And also, this kind of contradicts what was said in episode 3, where Joel told Ellie that everything he says goes, and Ellie tries to backtalk him a little bit here. So, obviously, she still doesn't believe that everything he says goes. So, there's that. Joel does game stuff, gunfire, gets around, gets into the house, walks up the stairs, and we find an old man there with a rifle. Joel tells the old man, please don't do it. Because he and the old man are staring down. Please don't do it. Just drop the gun. Hand it off to me. You don't have to die. Please don't do it. Old man looks down, breathes. Cut away, we hear gunfire, and we come back to seeing Joel there with the gun. So Joel had to kill him. We then start hearing Joel finds a radio with Kathleen talking on the other side, saying, hey, we're coming on here. Just keep them pinned down. We're on our way. Joel, we start cutting back over to the kids. We start hearing Joel yelling, and we also hear vehicles. Yes. Kathleen, Perry, and her crew are coming. They're ramming through stuff. They got a big truck breaking through all the cars and stuff. Joel's firing. He hits one of them, the big truck, throwing it into a house, getting it to basically catch fire because he had to save Ellie, right? Truck blows up, and everybody's pinned down. You got Henry, Sam, and Ellie over here. All the resistance fighters here. There's fire everywhere. Joel's up in the house, pinned down, and Kathleen comes out and says, Henry, give yourself up. Give yourself up. And this is some awful dialogue, and I get it. They tried to humanize Kathleen to a bit. She's a psychopathic murderer, and I do not feel bad for her. Especially after what she did. And I said, hey, I like Henry and Sam. I do. I like their dynamic. Kathleen comes out and starts saying, Henry, give yourself up. Henry's all like, if I give myself up, will you let the kids go and let the dude inside go? And she's all like, nope. If you give yourself up, I'm still going to kill them all. Like, there's no basically giving Henry not a dynamic. She ends up berating Henry for giving up her brother to save his brother, saying he should have just died. He was meant to die. This is what happens when you defy fate. All this bad stuff happens and you have to die now, and he has to die, and everybody has to die, including the guy who just killed everybody because he killed 2 of my men, so he also has to die. Everybody has to die. God, Kathleen is psychopathic. Henry looks at Ellie and Sam and says, I'm going to give myself up. It's just easier. So he does. He gives himself up. Kathleen looks at him and says, kill him. Well, prepares to fire upon him. And just as he's preparing to fire, everybody starts hearing something. So the truck that ran into the house, broke into it, begins to fall into the ground. They sort of set this up. Sort of. Still doesn't make much sense that we just now start seeing what we're about to see. Instead of throughout the entire city, we now see that ground opens up. Everybody's getting trained. They're watching as the ground opens up. Trying to get a good shot of it. And out from the ground arises a horde of infected. Here's my problem. I get it. They went to that underground bunker area and they said, oh, they probably died because they all got infected. Simple enough. Why haven't we seen them until now? We have an entire city free of infected. Why are we just now finding the infected? It doesn't make sense. You were underground. Why weren't they there? They just happened to be here? Oh, you just happened to hit a giant nest? This doesn't make sense. We're in a post-apocalyptic zombie-infected world, and you just happen to hit upon a spot where they were. It doesn't make sense. So, we then get a moment, bunch of zombies infected come out. They're killing all the resistance people. Joel's trying to kill some of the infected to protect Ellie and the kids. Ellie gets into a van at last minute. Henry and Sam are out and about trying to survive themselves. Just then, you see Perry there shooting away, and out of the ground, we see, if I can get the shot just right, a super... What I think they were bloated infected, the super infected, the very strong, big infected, come out of the ground and just start wailing on people. Perry tells Kathleen to get away, go, don't look back, just run. And after he does that, pushes Kathleen away, fires upon the stupid guy for a moment, and then gets torn in two. So pointless. Super guys just running about having fun. Joel's struggling. Then we see a clicker. Joel randomly starts struggling. He's having a hard time shooting, and we see a clicker get into the van that Ellie is. Well, the clicker's a little girl, and I get it, but they establish that Joel can't shoot it. So gets into the van, starts going after Ellie. Ellie gets out of the van, gets onto the ground, and she sees, it's a quick shot, she sees Henry and Sam underneath another vehicle, if I can get it. So she decides to start running over there. Joel's shooting at all the infected around her so she can get defended. She gets over to the truck, stabs one of the infected in the neck, pulls off the other infected, gets Henry and Sam out, just in time to be stopped by Kathleen, who is determined on killing Henry. And nobody takes care of Kathleen. It is a clicker that does it. Clicker comes up, jumps on her, and starts savagely beating her. Everybody sees it. I'm trying to get the shot of Kathleen getting violently destroyed by a clicker. It's not pretty. I'm missing it constantly. Anyway, she's getting violently beat. Joel tells them, hey, we're going to get out of here. See the infected now going into town. Here, this furthers my problem. They just happen to all be here. They kill everybody, and now they're moving into town. But you've established that cities aren't safe. Suburbs are a little bit more safe. But at the same time, they're a hive mind that have constant... those vines growing all over the place, and I knew what it was called. A mycelium network all over the place that if you step on it once, you alert the entire horde. So the dynamics of the infected don't make sense anymore. That's one of my biggest problems here. It was made perfect sense in the game. Here, it's, well, they are here. They're not here. They're here, but they're not here in other places, but they're over here in other places. They're not, it doesn't make sense. That's my problem. We now get to a hotel where Henry is talking to Joel and everything. They're bonding. And Joel says, hey, you know what? Because he's looking over at the kids. And he's like, you know, we're going to Wyoming. Don't know how we're going to get there. But you and Henry are more than welcome to join. That's what where that lets off. Henry goes into the room, tells Sam that they need to sleep. Sam and Ellie don't really go to sleep. They just start talking and having bonding time. And I'll admit, I got a little teary-eyed here. Sam and Ellie start chit-chatting a bit. Sam asks Ellie, "Are you ever afraid?" Ellie says, "Do I look afraid?" Sam says no, and Ellie says she's afraid all the time. She does a joke saying she's afraid all the time of scorpions, but in the reality, she's afraid of being alone. She's afraid of dying, and she's afraid of losing everybody. And then Sam asks her a very simple question. If you turn into a monster, is it still you inside? So, even in the game, this kind of falls through. Sam was bit. He shows Ellie. Ellie shows that she's immune. So, dumb idea. Moronic idea. Stupid idea. You tell us you've been to school, yet you think this is going to work. She cuts open her hand and tries to use her blood as a cure and smears it all over the open wound. Blood on blood contact, everybody. So, no, I firmly believe in my heart of hearts what happened here was Ellie killed Sam. I believe that. It's a joke, but it's the stupidest thing ever, because now whatever diseases this causes disease. This is not a cure. You could die now, Ellie. You could have AIDS. Ellie then tells him to go to sleep. They'll stay up together, just relax. And the next morning, she fell asleep. She wakes up, and Sam's an infected. Yes, Sam's an infected, trying to kill Ellie. Joel runs for the gun, tries to get the gun, can't get it. Henry grabs it, holds Joel at gunpoint, and pops his own brother. Henry can't handle that, and the next thing he does is, well, if you know the game, you know what happens. Pops himself. We then see Joel and Ellie make a grave for them, leave a little headstone with Sam's little pad that he had this whole time, which says, "I'm sorry." And they go off. And I'm trying to get the headstone. Yep, it says, "I'm sorry." And they walk off into the sunset going west. Going to Wyoming. In the end, I'm not going to give this episode a number. I was just bored. I was bored through it all. A lot of nothing happened. You got some development with Sam and Henry, but if you played the games, you knew Sam and Henry were going to die. And Kathleen dies, so her being psychopathic crazy killer doesn't really make sense. It is no purpose now, even though she's psychopathic crazy killer. Perry was useless in the end. Went from Tommy, the voice actor for Tommy, was useless. Everything was pointless. That's that. But let me get your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. I'm not a fan of this show. I'm just not. But let me get your guys' comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share it out with your friends. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.